Hello, this is Synergy Doc. How are you doing today? Yeah, I've been out of it for the last several weeks. There are problems with health issues with my shoulders and back, and my wife having same issues of low back pain, though, a little different. And computer problems, hardware problems, phone problems. My priorities are now out of whack. Priorities are very important for any of us when we're going to begin to do things. If you don't establish your priorities, you might find yourself totally discombobulated and always running and never gaining ground. And the important things can often fall and be pushed back. So when things like illness or other things begin to happen, and life gets full of this fast life, and when you look at that, you have to say, okay, how do I adapt to the changing times? Or what was a priority yesterday may not be a priority today. Or you have to make an allowance for something that wasn't planned for. So priorities are always going to be something that you want to try to establish that are the main priorities, so that no matter what else is going on, those still are cornerstones. Those are still priorities. And so the problem we often have is we don't get to establish our priorities when we take on a new project or a new position. I've worked for a number of tribes over the years since 1996. Working as an administrator, it's kind of like a city manager job. And often when I would come into these positions, there was a lot of things that had fallen behind. And for a number of reasons, there's a lot of dynamics. Things don't stay stagnant very long, and then when you do have someone leave a position, it sometimes takes a while to fill those positions. So there's multiple reasons of why there are many things that fall behind. So I always have to go in and look at what do I want to establish as priorities. And I'm usually pretty clear with my interview. People first, that's the number one priority. So I'm going to take care of the members of the community. And in doing so, that means the departments and programs that are designed to help people have to be shored up and brought up to speed and be available, which also means I need staff and employees that can do that, and we definitely have to have funding. So it's tied together. And sometimes I had to make choices on whether or not to call the helicopter and to have somebody flown out. Well, my priority is life first, people's lives first. So that for me, was already established. I didn't have to sit there and look at budget or anything else. I just said, send them, we'll deal with the finances later. But sometimes we have to adjust some of the things, and it's one of these things get so busy and you can't pull back time. So when you do have an established what are your priorities, if they are vital and important priorities, no matter what the disruption is, you can always come back to those priorities to say those are still going to be the priority of what I'm doing in this. So we often have deadlines, we often have things that are unrealistic that happen, and we are constantly fighting to keep things on a straight and even keel, and that's not always possible. But without priorities and good goals and everything established, and all the agreement is upon that, then we are going to be tossed around, and often we will never establish and come to terms with what was really important, because we're driven by the moment, the emotions, or we're reactionary instead of proactive. So getting your priorities lined out is very important. And yes, you may have to adapt sometimes. I've had to adapt these last 3 weeks. And in my priority, I want to get these little messages out. Other priorities still were established, and those were what drove us, not just this. So, hey, establish your priorities and enjoy life.